The galactic archive stretched across 17 sectors, a monument to 10,000 years of collected knowledge from 400 civilizations. Dr. Zelathi had spent 3 centuries as its chief historian, and in all that time, no puzzle had remained unsolved for long, until the predecessor tablets. The smooth obsidian slabs had been discovered on a dead world in the outer fringe, buried beneath kilometers of ice. They predated every known civilization by at least 50 millennia, covered in elegant flowing symbols that seemed to dance across their surfaces when light hit them just right. Linguists, cryptographers, and artificial intelligence matrices had all failed. The symbols followed no pattern, matched no known language family, and resisted every decryption algorithm in the archive's vast database. Galathi's crystalline fingers traced the incomprehensible markings for the 1,000th time. The predecessor civilization represented everything the archive stood for: knowledge, history, understanding. And yet they remained silent. Dr. Zelathi? The voice belonged to Ambassador Kurings, whose species had joined the Galactic Council only 2 centuries prior. The human delegation has arrived for their orientation. Zelathi's optical sensors dimmed with irritation. Humans, the newest council members, barely a generation past their first faster-than-light flight. They had caused quite a stir with their aggressive expansion and peculiar problem-solving methods, but Zelathi found them exhausting. They asked too many questions, touched everything, and had no respect for established protocols. "Send them to the orientation chamber," Zelathi said. "I'll join them shortly," but Kurings gestured apologetically. "They've already wandered off. I believe they're in the predecessor wing." Of course they were. Zelathi found them quickly enough. 2 humans stood before the primary predecessor display, their soft faces animated with curiosity. The female, designated as Anna Chen according to her cultural database entry, was a xenolinguist. The male, Jack Morrison, was listed as an engineer, though humans seemed to blur professional boundaries with alarming casualness. "Fascinating," Anna was saying, leaning close to the protective field surrounding the largest tablet. "The symbol density is remarkable. There must be thousands of unique characters." "Welcome," Zelathi said, her translator rendering her clicks and harmonics into serviceable human standard. "You found our greatest mystery. The predecessor tablets have defied translation for 800 years. Jack turned, his face splitting into that peculiar expression humans called a smile. 800 years? That's a long time, indeed. "No one can read this script," Zelathi said with finality. "We've determined it may be a form of artistic expression rather than true language. Some mysteries, it seems, are meant to remain unsolved." Anna moved along the display, her eyes scanning the tablets with intense focus. Zelathi noticed the human's hands making small gestures, as if tracing invisible patterns in the air. "Dr. Zelathi," Anna said carefully, "may I ask how these tablets were originally discovered? What was their orientation when found?" "They were extracted from ice core samples. The excavation team preserved their relative positions but not their specific orientation." "Why would that matter?" Anna and Jack exchanged a look, that peculiar form of silent communication humans seemed to excel at. "Could we see Tablet 7? Anna asked. "The one in the secondary vault?" Zelathi's irritation grew, but protocol demanded cooperation with council members. She led them to the climate-controlled vault where lesser tablets were stored. Tablet 7 floated in its suspension field, its symbols glinting in the carefully calibrated lighting. Jack approached the control panel. "May I?" Before Zelathi could respond, the human's fingers flew across the interface, surprisingly deft for such a young species. The tablet rotated slowly in its field. "Stop," Anna said quietly. The tablet hung inverted, its base where the top had been. Anna stepped closer, her eyes moving across the symbols with growing excitement. "It's not an unknown script," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's a known pattern. Dr. Zelathi, you're holding it upside down." Silence filled the vault. Zelathi's sensors focused with razor precision on the inverted tablet. "Upside down?" Zelathi repeated. "There's no up or down in space. We examined every possible orientation. But you didn't examine them with human pattern recognition," Jack said, pulling out a small holographic projector. "May I?" The projection bloomed in the air between them, Tablet 7's symbols inverted, with human annotations appearing alongside them. "These aren't abstract symbols," Anna explained, her excitement building. They're pictographs. When properly oriented, they represent star charts, anatomical diagrams, mathematical formulae. This section here, she highlighted a flowing cluster of symbols. That's a description of DNA analog structures. And this, another section glowed, is a numerical system based on base 12 mathematics. Zalathi felt something she hadn't experienced in decades. Genuine shock. She rotated tablet 7 again, forcing herself to see it through this new perspective. The meaningless symbols resolved into coherent images. A star map. A figure, bipedal bilateral symmetry. Chemical notations. Impossible, Zalathi breathed. We tested every orientation. Our algorithms were programmed by species with different visual processing systems, Anna said gently. The predecessor civilization appears to have been bipedal with forward-facing eyes, similar to humans. They oriented their writing based on gravitational down, just like we do. Your species processes spatial information radially. The Vorkics see in heat signatures. The Centauri have compound vision. None of you were looking for upside down, because that concept doesn't exist in your environmental contexts. Jack was already at another terminal, sending commands. Throughout the archive, tablets began rotating in their fields. Zalathi watched as centuries of mystery dissolved in minutes. Star charts revealed migration patterns. Historical records documented the rise and fall of a vast civilization. Scientific treatises offered insights into technologies the Council had never imagined. They were travelers, Anna said softly, reading from a newly legible tablet. They seeded worlds, built monuments, and left records for whoever would come after. They wanted to be remembered. Zalathi approached the humans slowly. In 800 years, 400 civilizations examined these tablets, and you solved the mystery in 8 minutes. Different perspectives, Jack said with a shrug. That's the beauty of diversity. The Galactic Council invites species to contribute their unique abilities, Anna added. Sometimes the newest voice is the one that needs to be heard. Zelathi's crystalline structure hummed with something that might have been laughter. The human contribution to galactic civilization, she said, her tone carrying new warmth, may be more significant than we anticipated. Come, we have several thousand more tablets to properly orient. As they left the vault, Zalathi reflected on the lesson. The archive had accumulated knowledge from across the galaxy, but knowledge without perspective was incomplete. Perhaps these curious, boundary-pushing humans would teach the Council more than just how to read ancient scripts. Perhaps they would teach them how to see.